I'm 71 years old, I'll be 72 in November, and at age 2 moved to Bethpage, and I've been here ever since. Graduated Bethpage High School in 1960. It was the first graduating class out of the high school building. The community of Bethpage, growing up, is very small, very friendly. Everybody knew everybody because it was a big community. We didn't have a big shopping center like we have now on Stewart Avenue. All the businesses were just on Broadway here. And most of the business owners were family-orientated people who passed it down through generations, and that's how the community survived. But the number of streets was mainly a lot of Italian people, and the north end of Bethpage, a lot of Swedes and Norwegians, and the rest of it was mixed up of a little of this and a little Irish and Germans and everything. Everybody got along very well, very well. There was no movie theaters in Bethpage when I was growing up. There was a movie theater in Farmingdale, which was 2 miles away, or you went to Hicksville, which was 3 miles. Movies were a quarter. You saw 2 movies and cartoons, and a lot of times we walked. We had a large family. I'm the youngest of 6 children, so you didn't really get invited to too many people because people didn't have a lot of money then in those days, and you really went paycheck to paycheck and didn't have you're lucky you had food in your own family, never mind to have a lot of, at least in my family, we didn't have a lot, and we made do with what we had, so that's what we did. Well, when we moved here, I lived on Stuymas Avenue. There was a farm across the street. Mr. Stuymas, the street is named after him, had a farm. There was farms, but there was a lot of farms. Bethpage was noted for its potatoes and its broccolis and cabbages and things like that. Very friendly community, even though there was a Lutheran church, a Methodist church, a Catholic church. In time, in the 50s, we did get a synagogue. The religious services when the Jewish community started to build up in Bethpage, they had their services here in the firehouse for 3 years until they got their first house of worship. Well, Bethpage has really made up a lot of it besides the community with the Grumman coming to Bethpage in the late 20s and really brought new people into the community and brought jobs and employment, and housing started to expand. And then in the early 50s, it really expanded with the housing. People sold their farms, and we started to get the Cape Cod homes, part of Levittown, part of, then you got different type houses, split levels in the north end, and more wealthier families, people commuting. Rail service went from old steam engines to the diesel engines, which were faster getting people into New York City, and you had more people moving from the city out into the suburbs.
I am 20 years old. I grew up in Bethpage. I moved here when I was 2 years old. Been here all my life. I went to Bethpage High School, graduated in 2011, and with a graduating class of about 280, with 1,000 kids, a little bit over 1,000 kids in the school in total. Now I feel like it's a lot more diverse than it used to be. Still, it's mostly predominantly like white Caucasian and mostly that. But I feel like it definitely got a lot more diverse, even from when I was a kid to now. When I was growing up, my parents were definitely protective. They would definitely want to know what I was doing, where I was going at all times. After school, besides sports and after-school activities, I was involved in a lot of clubs and such. Mostly it was just hanging out with friends, playing Xbox. I definitely think that you had to try to find different ways to keep yourself entertained, that there wasn't as much to do. It was either, a lot of it was the same. It was either movies or going to different people's houses to sit and hang out, talk to each other, watch TV. And then it wasn't until you got older where there was more stuff to do. But even then, it's still pretty much around the same stuff. So you find yourself trying to figure out different things to do.